Recently, we did our first ever long road trip from Pune to Bangalore, Coorg and Hampi. We took 11 days to complete this trip and covered a total distance of 2507 kilometers. In this video, I shall share some of my experiences during this trip which might be helpful for anyone planning to undertake such a road trip, either to these places or to any other place in the near future. Let us start with the planning stage first. As a standard rule, we decided that we shall not drive for more than 6 to 8 hours per day, which would typically cover a distance of between 300 to 400 kilometers. Moreover, we planned that we shall start our journeys in the morning after having a good breakfast so that we reach the destination before it gets dark. Under any circumstances, we would not be driving in the night time for safety reasons. We plan to visit three places during this road trip: Bangalore, Coorg and Hampi. Accordingly, we checked the distances by road between these places, and first being Bangalore, we checked the distance from Pune to Bangalore. It is 845 kilometers, which cannot be covered in one single day. So we looked for a good place to halt at half the distance and found out that Dharwad is the ideal place to halt for a night. Next, we looked for any interesting places along the route when we traveled from Pune to Bangalore, Coorg, Hampi and back to Pune, and we realized that between Pune and Dharwad there is Kolhapur, between Dharwad and Bangalore there is Chitradurg, and from Bangalore to Coorg there is Talakadu and Somanathpura. These were the places where we could halt for a couple of hours during our journey from one place to another place. Now, before starting for the trip, we got our car inspected and checked thoroughly by the Hyundai service center to ensure that there is nothing wrong with the car and there are no surprises along the route. And we also carried with us plenty of homemade snacks and essential medicines. We started our journey on the morning of 17th January and reached Kolhapur by lunchtime. The distance between Pune and Kolhapur is 231 kilometers and the road is very good all along. The main attraction in Kolhapur is of course the Mahalakshmi Ambabai temple, which was built by Chalukyas in the 7th century. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj visited this temple frequently, who ruled over this area, and also Adi Shankaracharya had visited this temple once. A tip for those going by car to Kolhapur: there is no designated car parking near the temple premises. So you may have to park your car in some lane or by-lane near or adjacent to the temple premises, which is already overcrowded. So be prepared to walk for a distance of around half a kilometer or even 1 kilometer after you park your car. Secondly, for those in hurry and in case there is a long queue and the darshan is likely to take more time, the temple authorities have provided a facility called Mukha Darshan. In Mukha Darshan, you can view the deity from a slightly longer distance, say around 10 feet more than the regular queue. The good part of Mukha Darshan is that there is no queue for this and you can have a relaxed darshan. No one will push you around and you can watch the deity for as long as you want. One more caution: gents wearing Bermudas and half trousers are not allowed inside the temple premises. We left Kolhapur after lunch and travelled a distance of 183 kilometers to reach Dharwad. Once again, the road between Kolhapur and Dharwad is excellent and you will never feel the strain of driving. The roads are beautiful. The first glimpse of Dharwad city, it appeared to be a very neat, clean and a disciplined city. All the traffic lights, including the timers, functioned perfectly, and surprisingly, all the people on the road also followed the traffic rules very religiously. Hubli and Dharwad are the twin cities of Karnataka, having the second largest municipal corporation in Karnataka after Bangalore. One of the main prominent features on the roads of Dharwad is the Hubli-Dharwad Bus Rapid Transit System, which is the HDBRTS. And this is one of the few successful models of BRTS which is being operated and maintained very efficiently. Even in big cities like Delhi and Pune, the BRTS system is an absolute failure. On the culinary front, the Mishra's Dharwad Peda are famous all over the country. We left Dharwad after breakfast and reached Chitradurg after travelling a distance of 229 kilometers. Once again, the roads were excellent, having a very scenic view on both sides. Lot of banana trees, coconut trees, windmills and picturesque towns. The drive is excellent. Chitradurg is famous for the fort which was built between 11th and 13th centuries. It is believed that Pandavas along with Kunti were in Chitradurg for some time during their exile. In Chitradurg, Bhima met Hidimba and had a son named Ghatotkacha. Among several temples in Chitradurg fort, there is one Hidimbeshwar temple as well, which is one of the main attractions. The fort also has an excellent water harvesting system which was designed hundreds of years ago. After having lunch at Chitradurg, we left for Bangalore, which is 202 kilometers away. The roads were fantastic and we enjoyed the drive till we reached Bangalore. All of us have heard about the maddening traffic of Bangalore, but this was an occasion for us to experience what it means to drive a car on overcrowded roads in the evening peak hour rush. People jostle for every inch of the vacant place in front of you from all directions all the time, testing your patience. After having a brief encounter with the traffic woes of Bangalore, we decided that we shall have the city tour of Bangalore in a cab. We started our tour with the famous Vishveshwaraya Museum. This museum makes learning science and technology absolute fun. This museum has various sections such as dam, space science, genetics, engineering, engines, etc. All the displays have push buttons in front of them for a live demonstration of the concept. You will see people all around pushing buttons and checking what exactly happens inside. I can challenge that no one comes out bored from this museum ever. Adjacent to the museum is the Venkatappa Art Gallery, which has some beautiful pieces of painting and sculpture. Next, we visited the Bangalore Palace, which was constructed over 150 years ago. This palace was once a home for the royal members of the Wadiyar family. Now, apparently, this palace has been embroiled in some legal battles with the government. The palace has a very unique and innovative method of providing audio guides to the tourists, wherein every person is given a small audio device and it plays a short tape describing the details and significance of various prominent spots within the palace. The audio guides are available in multiple languages including Hindi, English, French and many more languages. Next, we went to the Nehru Planetarium and watched a show on the solar system in English. We enjoyed the show, but it was not the best show that we saw. It was good, but not great. We also had a photo shoot in front of the most popular tourist spot of Bangalore, the Vidhan Saudha. Next, we visited the Bull Temple, which was built in 1537 by Kempe Gowda and has one of the largest monolithic statues of Nandi, which is 15 feet high and 20 feet long. Later in the afternoon, we also visited the iconic Lal Bagh Botanical Gardens. This garden is more than 200 years old, having over 1,000 types of plants and some trees which are more than 100 years old as well. It is spread over a vast area of 240 acres. We had a complete round of the garden in an electric cart at a very nominal cost. The cart driver cum guide gives you a brief description of the garden as he takes you through the garden. He also stops at various prominent spots for photo shoots, as this is the most favorite activity of the tourists inside any garden. The next day we went to Nandi Hills, a place which is around 60 kilometers from Bangalore. The Nandi Hills were developed during the 11th century and today it is a favorite spot near Bangalore for hiking, trekking and paragliding. The viewpoints are amazing and enchanting. The road up to the top of the hill is well laid and very safe for driving. The first SARC summit was hosted here in 1986. Just one caution, this place is inhabited by a lot of monkeys, so do not try to eat anything in open because some monkey might leap at you from nowhere and snatch it away before you realize it. We left Bangalore and reached a relatively lesser known place called Talakadu, which is 132 kilometers from Bangalore. Now this is a small town on the outskirts of Mysore, having ancient Shiva temples which were buried completely in sand till recently. The artwork on these temples is beautiful. It is believed that Lord Rama had halted here on his way to Sri Lanka. From Talakadu, we went to Somanathapura, which is just 25 kilometers away. Now this place is famous for the Chenna Kesava temple, which was built in 13th century. The ornate temple is a model illustration of the Hoysala architecture. This temple is enclosed in a courtyard with pillared corridor of small shrines. The main temple in the center is on a high star-shaped platform with three symmetrical sanctums having statues of Keshava, Janardana and Venugopala. All are forms of Vishnu. The sanctums share a common Sabha Mandapa with many pillars. The outer walls, the inner walls, the pillars and the ceiling of the temple are intricately carved and display murals and texts from Ramayana, the Mahabharata and Bhagavad Purana. From Somnathpura, we left for Madikeri, which is the main town of Coorg district, at a distance of 154 kilometers. By the time we reached the outskirts of Coorg, it was almost getting dark. Like any other hill stations in India, Madikeri too has only two-lane roads with steep slopes and sharp turns. And more importantly, these roads do not have a divider to separate the traffic flowing in two opposite directions. As such, it becomes difficult to drive after dark, particularly when you are stuck up behind a truck on an upslope and cannot overtake because of the oncoming traffic, and the people behind you become increasingly impatient. So, one advice to the tourists going by road trip to Madikeri is to reach Madikeri before dark. Madikeri is a beautiful hill station with coffee plantations and greenery all around. I think the biggest enjoyment in Madikeri comes from breathing the fresh air, seeing the pleasant greenery all around in cold weather. In Madikeri, we visited the Abbey waterfalls, where the viewing spot is about 150 steps down from the entrance. So, those tourists who have difficulty in climbing steps, be cautious about this point, because you might get down with excitement to see the Abbey waterfalls but have difficulty while climbing back so many steps. We also visited the Madikeri fort, which was built in the second half of 17th century. This fort has a museum with many rare artifacts and weapons from that period. Next, we toured the coffee plantations, where the guide took us on a tour of the coffee estates for about 40 minutes, during which he explained about the different types of coffee beans, more prominently the Arabica and Robusta, the process of roasting, various coffee flavors, etc. We also got to witness the process of grinding coffee and tasting a delicious variety of chocolate. Later, we visited an observatory called Raja's Seat, which gives a panoramic view of the stretched valleys below. This is a garden with a lot of colorful flowers and also hosts a musical fountain show every evening. The next morning, we took the blessings of Lord Shiva at the Omkareshwar temple. One caution: the access road to Omkareshwar temple is a very narrow single lane road having steep slope for a few meters. So in case you encounter a vehicle coming from the opposite direction, there is nothing you can do about it. One of the cars must reverse for a few meters to pass through that place. Later, we visited the Golden Temple, which is a Tibetan Buddhist monastery. This temple has huge gold-plated statues of Buddha and two of his disciples. Around 5,000 monks and nuns stay here. The walls are adorned with colorful and intricate traditional Buddhist artwork which tell the stories of their folklore. We then spent the evening at our homestay enjoying the pleasant weather with hot cups of steaming authentic Coorg coffee. One of our observations has been that Madikeri gets silent after dark. There is nothing much you can do after 7 pm. The next morning we visited Kaveri Nisargadham, which is a 64-acre island with dense gardens of bamboo, teak and sandalwood trees. If you are a nature lover, you would certainly enjoy spending a couple of hours at this place. Later, we left Madikeri for Hampi, which is 400 kilometers away. The road from Madikeri to Chitradurg is 281 kilometers and it is not a pleasant ride. The entire stretch of road is either one lane or two lanes, mostly with potholes and passing through villages. At many places, the road repair works and the road laying works are in progress. But even after they are completed, the road will not get the look and the feel of a proper highway. It is a tedious, somewhat irritating and even frustrating stretch passing through several small villages. There are no food outlets throughout the stretch of this road from Madikeri to Chitradurg. So we had to rely only on the snacks that we took along with us. Once we touched Chitradurg, then we went on to the national highway and then covered the distance of 128 kilometers to Hampi within no time. This was one of the excellent and the smooth roads travelled by us in the road trip thus far. Hampi is a UNESCO heritage site spread over a vast area of 41.5 square kilometers and has over 1,600 monuments. This was constructed in the 14th century and was also the capital city of Vijayanagar Empire. In the 16th century, it was considered the world's second largest medieval era city after Beijing and the richest city in India. Traders from Persia and Portugal regularly visited Hampi for trading and business activities. We started our day in Hampi with Vijaya Vithala temple, which is Hampi's crowning glory. This temple has a magnificent stone chariot standing in the temple courtyard, which also appears on the 50 rupee note. Then we visited Virupaksha temple, Lotus Mahal, Badavi Linga, Ugra Narsimha statue, stepped water tank, and Mahanavami Dibba. Now, Mahanavami Dibba is that historic place where Krishna Devaraya celebrated Dashera and the victories in the battles. There is a temple where Lord Rama reinstated Sugriva as the king of Kishkinda after killing Vali in a fierce battle. A tributary of the Tungabhadra river flows through this place where we enjoyed boating in big round butti boats made from bamboo. Although these sites are all located within a short distance of each other, it is still better to have your own personal vehicle while visiting these places. The next day, we went to the Hanumana temple located on the Anjanadri hills, which has approximately 575 steps to climb. Now, this is supposed to be the birthplace of Lord Hanumana. In this temple, beside the Hanumana idol, there is a glass container filled with water in which a 25 kg rock is floating. As we all know, rocks of various sizes were used by Vanar Sena led by Hanuman when they marched along with Lord Sri Rama to Sri Lanka. Now this rock is believed to be one of those and still has that quality of floating in water. The Archaeological Survey of India has discovered several historic monuments as late as in 1980s and 90s, and still the excavation activities are in progress to discover new hidden treasures in Hampi. We returned from Hampi to Pune via Solapur by covering a distance of 560 kilometers in a relatively short time, thanks to the excellent road condition all through the national highway. Overall, it was a highly enjoyable and memorable road trip. I shall be back with the description of another exciting road trip very soon. Till then, see you. Goodbye.